Well, the first home event of the 2021-2022 season is the men's soccer team, and I'm joined by their head coach, Gary Ross, to look ahead to the season this year for the Taylor men's soccer team. Tough year a year ago, but what's it like to be able to get back to a regular preseason for you and the boys?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We've had a good camp. We went out to Cody, Wyoming, and had about a 10-day trip out there. Good team bonding, good training. We trained at Cody High School and ended up playing Rocky Mountain College. I think they were a national tournament team last year. We beat them 2-0 in the friendly up there, so we felt pretty good about that. But it was a great trip for team bonding, leadership, discipleship, all of that. And so, yeah, it just feels like normal again. I mean, almost as though sort of what pandemic are they talking about? And we're thankful for that. Last year was hard. I mean, it was hard on a number of levels, not least of which is, we started later. Our schedule was sort of manipulated midway through the league play. It was supposed to be sort of this newfangled thing where we play each team twice, and because of certain teams that were quarantined and all that, we were only able to play teams once. So we sort of thought that there was more to the season, and it didn't really happen. So for us to, and I think like everyone in the country, for us to just be able to get back and play is we consider it a privilege, and we're thankful for it. And yeah, it made us appreciative, that's for sure.
Let's talk more about that trip to Cody, Wyoming. Normally you guys take the trip to Northern Ireland every couple of years. We saw that about a year or two ago. What made this trip different than trips you've gone on in the past?
Well, I think, honestly, one of the things that was different is we took like a 28-hour bus ride together. So you got these guys from all over the world coming in, some of them for the first time, being in the States, and they're engaging with us in a 28-hour bus ride out to Cody. So just the mere time that we spent together was actually really significant and really helpful. It was much better than we thought it would be on the way out. On the way back, we were kind of ready to be home. So, the however many hours we were on the bus, on the way home, it was we were a little bit testy towards the end, and guys were ready to get away from each other a bit. But on the way out, it was absolutely brilliant. Just loads of good camaraderie. There wasn't, one of the things too is guys just weren't always on their phones, which I think is pretty significant. They were just engaging with one another, a real community and team. So that was cool. In terms of, heading over to Northern Ireland like we usually do, Riot, which is the ministry that we go and work with over there, when we were planning the trip and looking to plan the trip to Northern Ireland again last winter, they just weren't open. I mean, they were still shut down with COVID and whatnot, and so we didn't know what was to be expected, and so we just said, well, I used to live in Cody, lived there for about 15 months, about 20 years ago, and used to work with a friend of mine who's still out there, and so he was the guy that discipled me and whatnot, and so we were able to engage him with our team while we were out there and have some good, meaningful time, just challenging the guys, kind of emphasizing the two words that we're sort of, putting forward to them all the time this year, and that's this whole idea of being selfless and being aggressive in your life. I think we see a lot of passivity and a lot of selfishness happening in culture, and we're just trying to combat that a little bit. So Jim was able to kind of speak into the lives of a lot of the players, and it was a pretty meaningful, impactful time.
Get up. Nice. Back up. Good.
One of the headlines for you and the team this year going into not only this early camp, but also the season in general is the competition at the goalie spot. You're going to have a third different starting goalie for the third year in a row. What's that competition look like?
It's really, really tight. So Sam Spiegel's an incoming freshman, very athletic, very strong, can ping a ball. Just as strong as any kid I've ever seen, honestly. And Jacob has really improved his game as well. And so they're both about the same size. They're both very athletic, and they're both kind of unproven when it comes to what's happening here. So we started Jacob one game against Rocky Mountain and then brought Sam in the second half. Both of them played well, shutout performances. And then when we played Indy Fire the other night, Sam gave up a goal. We got two of them back. And then in the second half, it got cut short where Jacob was out there. So we've seen a lot from them in our training. We've done a lot of like 8v8 and 7v7 with keepers. So we've been able to see a lot. There's not much separating them. So at any given moment, we've had this discussion with them already. Depending on the game, depending on the tactic, depending on who we're playing and the opponent, it could be one or the other, and they just need to be ready on the front end. But they're both very good.
You mentioned Sam Spiegel, a freshman. Your whole freshman class has been really impressive this fall. What's that been like watching them not only come in right away, contribute right away, but maybe provide a little extra juice to practice here before the season opener tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's been very helpful. A few years back, we sort of looked at our standings around the league and recognized that we weren't quite where we needed to be, and so we kind of put together about a 2-year plan to get it to a point where we could compete again for the league realistically. We think we're there. We think the last 2 freshman classes have really helped us. Guys who've kind of stood out. Spiegel's been one of them. Pablo Gonzalez is a midfielder from Spain that we brought in. He's very good. He's going to play the 6 some, as well as Levi Yoder. He's also kind of a holding midfielder, 6 type player. Levi scored against Rocky Mountain for his first collegiate goal and our first goal of the year. And so Colin Maris is another one. Colin played for the Indy Fire Red team that just went to the Nationals. He was named the best 11 in the country at that tournament, and so that's pretty good. So all the things we've been saying to our players about challenging them with better players coming in that will help challenge them and make them better as well. We think it's coming true. We have a lot of work to do. I mean, there's mentality and culture changes that we've been engaged in for a while now. We think we've kind of turned a corner on some of those things, but we're excited, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We've got to win every day.
Big day tomorrow, obviously the season opener, but also the home opener as well against St. Francis of Illinois. Does it make it even more special, or maybe a little bit easier to prepare for, knowing that you don't have to get on the bus and go somewhere a couple hours? You're just right here at home?
Yeah, home openers are always great, and the fact that we just had we spent about whatever it was, 72 hours on a bus together. We're kind of over the bus, so it's kind of nice not to have to get on there, tomorrow. But it's always great to open up at home. And honestly, we haven't fared that well in the last few years at home, and that's a mentality thing, and it's something we're trying to change. And so I think you'll see something different tomorrow night from us.
Gary, thanks for the time. Best of luck tomorrow with the rest of the season.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
That's men's soccer head coach Gary Ross joining me today to watch that home opener tomorrow night against St. Francis of Illinois. Just log on to the Taylor Athletics YouTube channel.